Hi, this is Daniel DiTuro. Do you believe life in the past was better than the present? In this video, I'll share education, leadership and literacy, lifestyle and life expectancy, employment and benefits, and etiquette in the good old days. In the good old days, over 90% of the population was illiterate and poor. In 17th and 18th century America, only New England had public schools. Eventually, a publicly funded elementary school education was available to boys and girls. But colleges were private and limited to men from wealthy families. In most cases, men were educated and women were not. After all, the common man had no need for higher education. Only men became doctors, lawyers, clergy, and other professions. In today's bad old days, more women attend college than men. There's a reason kings in the good old days had a signet ring or seal. Many were illiterate. Like today, education was not a prerequisite to rule. Physical strength, leadership, and successful military campaigns determined who would be king. Like the good old days, many people today are illiterate. In the good old days, kissing your wife in public was punishable as lewd and unseemly behavior. All clothing was handmade. Off-the-rack clothing was not available until 1770 for men and 1820s for women and children. Most people used chamber pots and outhouses. Most large cities dumped untreated wastewater into rivers supplying drinking water. This helped to reduce the need for elder care, since life expectancy was only 35 years. In 1790, about 1/3 of the people born would die by age 6, and only 1/4 lived beyond 26. Married 17th century American women had an average of 13 children, and all were born at home. The average dropped to 4 by the early 20th century, and they too were born at home. The infant mortality rate dropped from 40% to 10% between the 17th and 20th centuries. The leading causes of death for adults and children until the mid-20th century were infectious diseases. At the turn of the 20th century, most urban women did not work outside of the home, and about 25% of male Americans aged 10 to 15 worked 10 to 12-hour days, 6 days a week. The risk of being seriously injured or dying on the job was a way of life. Since most families had no life insurance and women did not work, survivors faced poverty and homelessness. Unemployment insurance was not widely available until the mid-20th century. The same with health insurance. Most families did not have life insurance. In the good old days, man was lord of his home, wives obeyed their husbands, and children obeyed their parents and elders. Is this quote ancient or modern? Our earth is degenerate in these latter days. There are signs that the world is speedily coming to an end. It comes from a 5,000-year-old Assyrian tablet. How about this quote? Children are now tyrants. They no longer rise when elders enter the room. They contradict their parents and tyrannize their teachers. The quote is by Socrates. One final quote about the good old days. What is happening to our young people? They ignore the law. They riot in the streets, inflamed with wild notions. The quote was made by Plato, not a 21st century teacher or parent. Many quotes from hundreds and even thousands of years ago long for the good old days. Do you still long for the good old days? Please leave a comment if you have any questions about this video. Thank you for watching.